बिल्कुल ठीक है, बिल्कुल ठीक है। सो ये एक छोटा सा टॉपिक है, लेकिन टॉपिक ये इम्पोर्टेंट है, इसलिए मैं इसको, क्योंकि मैंने सुसाइड कवर की थी तो मेरा ख्याल था कि मैं इसको इसके साथ ही कवर कर लूं। अभी रिसेंटली मैंने देखा इम्तियाज डोगर साहब भी लॉन्ग केस पे प्रॉब्ली सैटरडे को प्रेजेंटेशन करेंगे। मेरी नेक्स्ट प्रेजेंटेशन मेडिकली अनएक्सप्लेन्ड सिम्टम्स को पे है फ्राइडे को। तकरीबन यही टाइम होगा, बट आई एम नॉट श्योर वेदर दे विल बी यूजिंग स्काइप और समथिंग एल्स। सो वो एक, क्योंकि फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनी वाले करवा रहे थे तो उन्होंने मुझसे पूछा था और मैंने उनको कहा था कि जी मेडिकली अनएक्सप्लेन्ड सिम्टम्स जिसमें सोमाटाइजेशन और सोमाटोफॉर्म डिसऑर्डर्स और कन्वर्जन डिसऑर्डर्स शामिल हैं, उसको हम थोड़ा सा कवर कर लें क्वेश्चन आंसर बेसिस पे। और अगर जरूरत पड़ी तो उसकी प्रेजेंटेशन मजीद मैं फिर कर दूंगा। आई जस्ट वांटेड टू कवर अप दिस टॉपिक बिकॉज आई थॉट दैट दिस इज इम्पोर्टेंट एंड यू पीपल शुड बी अवेयर ऑफ इट, एंड वी वर स्लाइटली टॉकिंग अबाउट इट, बट formally just few slides, maybe 10-12 slides, but they'll be important for you. So let's start with it, and I will just go ahead. Now, one thing is important that previously it was called deliberate self-harm. Now we call it self-harm. So there is a difference between self-harm and deliberate. So the word deliberate is removed now in most of the classification system, and we are not using it anymore. So it is not called DSH, rather it's called self-harm. And the reason for removing deliberate is, again, number of reasons I will explain to you later. So self-harm happens when you hurt or harm yourself, and you may, this was one of the comment added up by one of the trainee here in the participants, who said, get person who's banging the head against the wall, would you use it for self-harm, and how do you want to treat it? So slightly covering that area as well. So self-harm happens when you hurt or harm yourself. You may take too many tablets, an overdose, cut yourself, burn yourself, bang your head or throw yourself against something hard, punch yourself, stick things in your body. Now, this is usually we are not asking about it, but there are people who try to keep the objects and their private parts or hide them without any reasons that you won't be able to understand at this point in time. But when you assess the patient, you will be able to understand the reasons. So that is another thing. Swallow things. People who eat, again, objects like cells, batteries, small solid objects. They may take pebbles, stones, or swallow anything like that. That is also comes in self-harm. And it can feel to other people that these things are done calmly and deliberately, almost cynically. So this is another confusion. When people do this, do they enjoy it, or do they feel comfortable in doing it, or do they have any motives for it? That is the question that we will try to cover up in today's presentation. So why do people do this thing? Why do people try to eat something which should not be taken otherwise? Why do they do that? So self-harm, we know that someone who self-harm is usually in a state of high emotional distress and unbearable inner turmoil. So apparently they appear calm, comfortable, relaxed, but they are not. Actually, they are from inside very uncomfortable, very uneasy, emotionally very distressed. So when you bang your head against something, you are definitely in a great emotional distress. That is one of the reasons why deliberate word is removed. So because these people harm themselves because they are in immense emotional turmoil or emotional distress, That is the reason why it is called self-harm, because there is no deliberation into it. People are not doing it by willingly doing, they want to do it. Unless or until there is an element of feigning, which we will again cover in a short while. So some people plan it in advance. For others, it happens on the spur of the moment. Some people self-harm. Can you mute your mic, please? Thank you. Uh, some people plan it in advance. For others, it happens on spur of the moment. Some people self-harm only once or twice, but others do it regularly. It can be hard to stop. So if there is an emotional conflict in the house, so you are having some conflicts with your siblings, and you try to bang your head on the wall, that is an emotional distress. Why it happens, we have to see the whole of the scenario and context. So it may occur once or twice during this heightened state of emotional distress, or it repeatedly occurs. So whenever you are emotionally distressed, you bang your head. And whenever you are emotionally upset because you have conflicts in the family or relationship problems or any other stress, you bang your head. So then frequency is common. It can happen in both ways. Some of us harm ourselves in less obvious but still serious ways, like overdosing. We may believe in ways that suggest we don't care whether we live or die. We may take drugs recklessly, have unsafe sex, or binge drink. Some people simply starve. So there is a possibility when you see somebody very thin, lean, and very smart person, but when you ask them, they are actually starving themselves. And if they are starving themselves too much, even that comes in deliberate self-harm. So that is again a distress call. And we have to make sure that this is assessed properly. As a psychiatrist, we have to assess them. So today, when I was doing a clinic, one of my clients came in and asked me, why do you try to feel it like this? And why do you want to write the script when you are just not looking at me? And I was just trying to explain it to her. The reason I want to do it is because I want to concentrate. So if you are concentrating with your professional skill on the patient's communication, you will be able to understand what I mean. So some of us will harm ourselves, less obvious, but still serious ways. Like in the spur of the moment, you just get up, wrap up a dupatta, put it on the fan, and try to hang yourself, the spur of the moment. Now, there is no deliberation to it. So there is definitely act of self-harming, and you at that point won't understand whether it could be very dangerous, but you still do it. That is what the complication is. And this is the reason why the self-harm is taken very seriously. Most of the psychiatrists across the globe, even in here, they feel, oh, she's cutting herself. She's back again in emergency. So she is used to doing cutting herself. That's not unusual. Borderline personality disorder, oh, cutting is very fine. So we cannot do anything about it. No, that's wrong attitude. As a professional, as a psychiatrist, we have to manage the self-harm very seriously and try to understand and manage it properly. So, other words, these terms were previously used to describe self-harm, but now are going out of use, which is one, deliberate self-harm. So the word deliberate tended to blame people for their self-harm. So we were actually trying to convey to general public that deliberate self-harm, DSH, means people are doing by themselves, wishfully, by their choice, but it's not actually like that. And this is one of the reasons why deliberate word is removed. Now always say self-harm. Don't use DSH. Second, suicide or parasuicide. So people were saying that it's a para-suicide. As I mentioned to you earlier, para means around and suicide, around the suicide. So you don't actually want to kill yourself, but you do certain behaviors which appears to be as if you are trying to harm or kill yourself, but you are not doing it. It is self-harm, not para-suicide. So that is again corrected. So these suggested that harming yourself is the same as wanting to kill yourself, which is often not the case. So you don't want to kill yourself. The para-suicide, you don't want to kill yourself, but you want to harm yourself. But actually, sometimes these acts could be lethal when you recklessly do that. That is a complication with the self-harm. And that is one thing that makes us, as a professional, way to see them, understand them, and try to manage them. How common is the self-harm? About 1 in 10 young people will self-harm at some point, but it can happen at any age. So नौजवानों में, यंगस्टर्स में कॉमन है, गुस्सा चढ़ा सर मार दिया, गुस्सा चढ़ा मुक्का दीवार पे मार दिया. And unfortunately, this can continue, or this can happen once or twice. It can happen at any age, but mostly it occurs in youngsters. Around the age of teenage and adolescence, it's more common. So that is a critical situation. And if we are able to correct it or manage it at that point, the future prognosis and outcome is better. And if we are not able to correct it at that point, the future outcome and prognosis is compromised. It leads to multiple other problems, and we'll be talking about that too. The research probably underestimates how common self-harm is. It's usually based on surveys of the people who go to the hospital or their GP after harming themselves. However, we know that a lot of people do not seek help after self-harm. Some types of self-harm, like cutting, may be more secret and so less likely to be noticed. Now, cutting at a places which is obvious, like in arms, like in borderline personality disorders. You have attended so many lectures on borderline personality disorder, which were conducted by Dr. Fareed Minhas. So I hope you know that. But still, just shortly, I'm telling you that in borderline personality disorders, the self-cutting is common. It's not uncommon in other disorders. I'm just giving you an example. So when people, young girls, come with cutting their hands, wrist, slashes on the wrist, it's obvious, and you try to manage it. But in other situation, it may not be obvious. So people are wearing appropriate dresses, they are behaving very normally, but inside they are emotionally turmoil. And when somebody sees them inside the body, like partner, spouse, or somebody close to them, and they realize, oh, what are these marks? So they are cutting themselves. In a study of over 4,000 self-harming adults in hospital, 80% had overdosed and around 15% had cut themselves. अब फिगर्स को आप ये कोट करें कि अगर 100 में से 10 लोग अपने आप को इंजर कर रहे हैं, नुकसान पहुंचा रहे हैं, hitting themselves, cutting themselves, banging their heads, it's quite common, right? Now, why it is common, as I mentioned to you earlier, extreme emotional distress. In the community, it is likely that the cutting is a more common way of self-harming than an overdose. But you look around yourself in emergency, lots of people are overdosing. And you know what? People, if somebody calls me in the middle of the night and tells me कि जी मैंने 30 गोलियां लिक्सोटनिल की खा ली हैं, या वो जी हमारे मरीज ने 30 गोलियां लिक्सोटनिल की खा ली हैं. So, Mel, the first thing I will do is I will tell them, okay, don't panic. Just try. If they can vomit out, fine. If not, let them sleep and let me sleep as well. But if somebody says that a patient of ours has taken 60 pills of paracetamol or Tylenol or Brufen, then I will be immediately cautious. So Lexartanil, probably 30 tablets is not much harmful, but taking 50 tablets of Panadol is more harmful. Now, this is because professionally I am talking to you, so I'm telling you. Unfortunately, this will go on the net as well. I don't want people to know this, but taking paracetamol can damage your liver in that dosage, damage your kidneys. Maybe you need a dialysis, maybe you need a stomach wash, maybe you need an urgent treatment. So it's complicated. So, whatever the methodology people are using, we have to be cautious and assess that situation. If you feel that it's not an emergent situation, considering your professional opinion regarding the medication, then it's okay. But other than that, it's a medical emergency. So for the time being, people should be rushed. They should be, so if the cut is deep, they should be stitched. The bleeding should be stopped. There should be a bandage, things like that. So whatever the treatment should be provided. Mostly among young women, so they cut themselves too much. They harm themselves too much as well. In extreme emotional distress form, they slap, sometimes bang their head, sometimes bang their arms on something in distress. And of course, we cannot take it lightly. This is self-harm, needs professional help, needs professional opinion, needs professional management as well. Prisoners, asylum seekers, veterans of the armed forces. Now, unfortunately, we don't see the armed forces people too much in private setting, but the people who are related to the armed forces, they will see, if they want to, they will see hordes of people doing it. And because the armed forces people, when they are under distress or emotional turmoil, because they are men, they are big, they are powerful, they don't want to tell people. But if a psychiatrist talks to them, then of course it is a problem, common problem there as well. Gay, lesbian, bisexual. Now, all of these things we never ask in Pakistan. This is very strange. ये मजाक के तौर पे बात कर रहा हूँ. वो हमारे एक साइकियाट्रिस्ट साथी थे, वो कहते जी कि सबसे ज्यादा कॉमन क्राइम जो है वो ये क्वेश्चन भी पूछा गया कि जी सबसे ज्यादा कॉमन चीज क्या है कुछ इलाकों में पाकिस्तान में. उन्होंने कहा जी सबसे ज्यादा कॉमन चीज सोडोमी है. नाउ अनफॉर्चुनेटली the punishment for that act exists in law. It is considered to be crime as well. But I haven't seen even a single person committed and sent to jail because of that crime. This is irony, right? So we don't talk about it. We don't want to face that thing, that this is a common problem in our society as well. But when it crops up, people know. And we as a psychiatrist should be cautious about these things, because there are few things in the society which do exist, but people don't want to talk to about it, and they put those things under the carpet. So we should talk to our patients, whether they are lesbians, whether they are gay, whether they are bisexual. You have to assess it. And then assessment leads to the diagnosis, and diagnosis leads to the management strategy. So that is important. At least in part due to some stress, prejudice, and discrimination. This is common and unfortunately not addressed. A group of young people who self-harm together, having a friend who self-harms may increase your chances of doing it as well. So it seems to be something contagious. It is actually not contagious, but it appears as. So if there are 3-4 friends, and one of them wants to walk on something, a thin pipe on a height, and he can cross it, most of the partners, the young boys especially, they want to follow without thinking what are the risks involved in it. They can fall, they can injure themselves, but they do it impulsively or because of number of psychological processes. So you have, as a psychiatrist, it's our responsibility even to assess these type of people who have experienced physical, emotional, or sexual abuse. Majority of the situation when I'm seeing my patients in my clinic, in Pakistan, I'm talking about. So when I see them, people don't talk about sexual abuse, especially they don't want to talk about the childhood sexual abuse. Even and because it mostly happens to young boys and girls, we are not allowed somehow or the other, or we have hesitancy in ourselves that we don't want to talk to them alone about this issue. But if you talk to the patient alone, without the parents, with confidence, with the target of assessing and diagnosis, lots of information comes out. And then it's easier for you to manage them rather than keep giving them antidepressant, antipsychotics, and benzodiazepines and other stuff. Assess. Assess properly before you intervene because that is important and that is very important. I hope I'm still having the recording on, so I was just trying to check it out. So let's go back again here. What makes people self-harm? So common problems include physical or sexual abuse. This is very common. Now, domestic violence is considered. I presented at least at 5 different occasions about the domestic violence at a big forums, and people don't take it seriously. बीवी को एक आधी चपेट मार देना, it not considered to be a domestic violence. बच्चों को छड़ी से मार देना, फुटे से मार देना, टीचर्स ने थप्पड़ लगा दिया बच्चे को. It is not considered to be violence at all, unfortunately, in our society. But it is definitely having lots of bad consequences on emotional health of an individual. So we have to be careful about that too. Assess it. I remember again, I will quote it here, my own examples, because I feel that unfortunately, giving my own examples would be able to make you understand more commonly. When we were young boys and we were studying in school, हम अभी जब पुराने स्कूल के दोस्त इकट्ठे होके बैठते हैं तो बातें करते हैं तो अब रियलाइज होता है कि उस वक्त क्या होता था जब हम रिट्रोस्पेक्टिवली देखते थे. तुम्हारे टीचर थे जो फ्रंट पे चेयर जो थी उस जो भी बच्चे दो फ्रंट पे बैठे होते थे मुख्तलिफ लाइनों में, तो दरमियान में जो फ्रंट पे दो बच्चे बैठे होते थे वो डेस्क पे उनके बैठ जाते थे और वो कानों को ऐसे बच्चे के मुसलसल मसलते थे और पूरी क्लास में वो उसके कान को बेड़ा गर्क कर देते थे. And now we realize that that was actually the act of child abuse. Probably, again, we were not able to assess it at that point. But lots of boys in my class could have suffered because of that abuse in times to come, some emotional or psychological phenomena happening to them later in life. This is important. And this you have to understand that assessing these small parameters is important if you really want to take care of your patient. Otherwise, you will forget and keep giving them antidepressants and it won't work. So feeling physical or sexual abuse is important to be assessed. Feeling depressed, feeling bad about yourself, low self-esteem, relationship problems with siblings, with parents, with cousins, living in a joint family system. सास है, नंदे हैं, जेठानियां हैं, बेशुमार खवातीन घर में हैं. एक घर है उसमें सब जगह एक ही जगह पे लोग हैं और there are relationship issues which leads to emotional turmoil and then some domestic abuse as well, domestic violence as well, leading to some complications, leading to self-harm. So as a psychiatrist, you have to understand that. Being unemployed or having difficulties at work. Now, this is again very common. In Pakistan, when people are working in offices, they are bullied, they are forced, they are abused verbally as well. Nobody raises voice because unfortunately, if they do that, then they will be kicked out of the job and they'll be jobless and it will create further aggravated problem. So when you are assessing that, you have to ask the person कि नौकरी कहाँ करते हैं, किस किस्म की नौकरी है, कितने लोगों के बीच में बैठ के करते हैं, क्या काम है, बॉस कैसा है. Simple questions, but if that gives you a clue as a psychiatrist, then you can move on further. Same goes in the exam situation. When you are assessing all of these things, very simple, straight questions. Do you think, have you ever been abused? Do you think, have you ever been sexually or physically abused? Do you think that your parents, siblings, or teachers have physically abused you or gave you punishment or beated you or something like that? And then assess it. If you get a positive response, then assess it whether whatever that situation was, it led to the current problem or not. So it's important. Very simple questions, but do ask them. You may be more likely to harm yourself if you feel that people don't listen to you, hopeless, isolated, alone, out of control, powerless. It is more likely to happen if you are using substance abuse. Again, substance abuse is a common problem in Pakistan. People say that alcohol abuse is not common because alcohol abuse people don't come to us usually. They don't feel it to be a problem and they want to hide it as well. But the consumption of alcohol on monthly basis, if you see the statistics on the net in Pakistan, it's very high. People don't talk about it. People end up in medical emergencies with stomach problems, with the cirrhosis of liver, but they won't come to psychiatrists for help. This is again a complication. And we have to see if really there is a substance abuse, then you should assess the self-harm as well. So self-harm itself leads to substance abuse, or the substance abuse leads to the self-harm as well. So that relationship is important. How does self-harm makes you feel? So when people do that, bang the head against the wall, or arm, or aggressively done something, or hanged, or followed any colleague or a friend with some very dangerous activity, how do they feel? So they feel in control actually at that time. They feel that they are able to grab it, the situation appropriately. And it reduces the internal stress, the emotional turmoil. That's a relief from the internal emotional turmoil. And that unfortunately increases the behavior. So it starts coming back again and again. So if you feel guilty, it can be a way of punishing yourself and relieving your guilt. Either way, it can become a quick fix or feeling bad. So most of the time when I'm feeling not good, not happy, bad about myself, उसने मेरी बेइज्जती कर दी, low self-esteem, I will try to do this. Now, these acts are actually self-harm, and we have to assess what is actually what before we do that. Most common methods of harming them oneself is 75% cutting. Now, this is figures from one study. So there are various studies quoting it. 75% of the deliberate, so again, I'm using deliberate. Self-harm is cutting. 30% is self-hitting, and 28% is burning. So you lit up a lighter and you try to burn yourself and feel the pain, and it releases the anxiety. Now, how it happens, that's a very, again, complex situation. So your brain, your thalamus, and the related emotional areas, they are all connected. And when there is a pain, there is definitely more output through the neurotransmitters, and there is an imbalance, and people feel relaxed after that. So the stress and anxiety is basically probably helpful. The pain induced in other area helps relieving the stress and anxiety in a short period of time. But if it continues, then it complicates. We can talk about the neurobiology of pain when I will try to teach you the pain, because pain is one thing that we have to cover for the modules as well. There are questions related to pain in the exam, in IMM and FCPS, and you should be aware of it. So it's an important topic. Signs of self-harm. Signs that someone may be hurting themselves include having frequent cuts, bruises or scars. So there are multiple scars on the face. ये क्या हुआ था, फलां जगह गिर गए थे, चोट लगी थी, ये क्या हुआ था, ये इस फलां जगह किसी से लड़ाई हुई थी, उस पर लग गई थी. And when you see multiple scars on the face or the hands or arms, you should try to assess the self-harm. Wearing long sleeves or pants, even in hot weathers, trying to conceal it, not to be able to wear the t-shirt because it exposes your arms. So that is important. Well, in females in Pakistan now, girls do wear sleeveless. Previously, they were not wearing it. So the women who are wearing, the girls who are wearing the sleeveless, the arms are exposed. And if you can see some cuts, you should be cautious. Making excuses about injuries. ये क्या हो गया, वैसी लग गई. So you should be careful. Having sharp objects around us for no clear reason. Like जेब में छुरी लेके फिरते हैं, या जेब में वो छोटा सा चाकू लेके फिरते हैं, या ब्लेड रखा हुआ है. What for? Right? So you, just as a professional, you should be careful about it. Now, self-harm cycle. This is very interesting. So this is a cycle. It keeps on revolving around the same process. So this is important. Emotional suffering, emotional overload leads to panic, leads to self-harm, temporary relief, shame and grief, and emotional suffering. And it keeps on moving in this circle time and again. And this is an important circle. Emotional suffering, emotional overload, panic, anxiety, whatever you want to call it, self-harm, temporary relief, shame, and grief. That is critical. Precursors to self-injury. क्या क्या होता है? Precursors क्या क्या हैं? 1. Stress. 2. Dissociation. Stress leads to feeling overwhelmed, unable to cope, exposed, and or sensitive. Then triggers, then self-injury. In dissociation, there is feeling numbness, lost, alone, disconnected, and or unreal. Leads to self-injury. And both these processes of self-injury leads to feeling relieved, in control, in charge, feeling little bit of active, and emotionally bounced back, and feeling real. Yes, I can control it. I can do it. I am something, right? That is important. So that triggers emotional problems back and again, and it continues, and this is important. Now, risk. These are some of the risk factors I have mentioned. So high risk if age, young, female sex, race and ethnicity. So it's more common in, unfortunately, Asian communities. Genetic predisposition, khandanon mein chalta hai, right? So that is a risk factor. If it overlaps with psychosocial stresses like mental illness, major depressive disorder, anxiety disorders, OCD, schizophrenia, bipolar, it multiplies the risk. Substance abuse multiplies the risk. And then use of benzodiazepine, a very common phenomenon. The other day I was looking at that, there was one of the psychiatrists, probably Khadija, was trying to cover the abuse and use of benzodiazepine. It is a sensitive topic and we should be able to assess it. And domestic abuse, high stress, occupational hazards, educational problems, lack of support, financial factors, low socioeconomic background, other forms of abuse like physical and emotional and sexual abuse that I have covered. Last slide, just very briefly. Sorry. Okay, so can you see me again? Yeah, okay. So I'm good. Now the treatment is threefold, but the first and the foremost thing in the treatment is the assessment, evaluation of the situation, and then diagnosing, and then treatment. If by any chance you are not able to assess properly, or give a diagnosis or manage the diagnosis, then it's a complication. But the treatment includes biological, like treat the psychiatric morbidity and reduce the risk. वो जो मरीज को हम बताते हैं, लवाकिन को बताते हैं कि जी इनको ऐसी जगह पे रखें, इनके पास शार्प ऑब्जेक्ट्स ना हो, सेफ सिक्योर एनवायरनमेंट हो, कमरे में कोई ऐसी चीज ना हो जिससे ये अपने आप को लटका सकें वगैरह वगैरह. सो दोज थिंग्स आर important. Then psychological treatment, we have covered the psychotherapies, and the same psychotherapies are there as well, working here as well. So problem solving therapy, CBT, psychodynamic and interpersonal problem solving therapies. The social interventions are more complex. Here we have a social worker in every psychiatry subunit. So I'm working as in one of the community psychiatric clinic, and I am the only psychiatrist there. I have a social worker, two of them. I have psychologist, I have occupational therapist, and a behavior therapist. So that team manages. So the social worker's importance is so significant that there are two social workers and there is only one psychiatrist and psychologist. You can imagine the amount of work. हमारे यहाँ अनफॉर्चुनेटली एक पहली बात तो सोशल वर्कर्स को एक्नॉलेज नहीं करते, और अगर जिन सरकारी महकमों में साइकियाट्रिक डिपार्टमेंट में सोशल वर्कर हैं उनके जिम्मे काम एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ज्यादा होता है और पेशेंट से रिलेटेड काम होता है, विच इज अनफॉर्चुनेट, बट इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट. द सोशल वर्कर्स दे एक्ट विद intensive interventions socially, emergency card interventions. They try to do the telephonic supportive plans to the patients and work for them, and they give the postcards and other interventions. So the social worker plays a major role in the management and reducing the self-harm than anybody else, right? This is a brief presentation, but again, जैसे मैं पहले कहा था वैसे मैं अभी दोबारा कहूं, the most important thing is, where is it? Oops, okay. So the most important thing is, stop sharing. So how can I stop sharing? Okay. Can I do that? Have I done that? No. Any questions so far? No? No questions?
जी सर, मुझे क्वेश्चंस पूछने हैं.
जरूर पूछें, बोलें.
सर मेरे 3 क्वेश्चन है, मैं थ्रू द लेक्चर लिख रही थी. ठीक है सर. सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन मेरा ये है कि इन द हीट ऑफ मोमेंट अगर कोई पेशेंट सेल्फ हार्म करता है, जैसे कि अभी बात हुई थी कि इन द स्पर ऑफ मोमेंट, तो क्या उसको इम्पल्सिविटी में शुमार कर सकते हैं?
बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं. इम्पल्सिविटी is part and process of this thing, but impulsivity again is a symptom, not a diagnosis. Impulse control disorder is a diagnosis. You have to understand, which I am saying time and again, that these are the symptoms, not the diagnosis. We have to assess and make a diagnosis. So impulsivity, unfortunately, could be partly because of number of things around. Right? Yes. We have to give the diagnosis. What is leading? What is the symptom leading to a diagnosis? दूसरा सवाल
सर कि जब सेल्फ हार्म पेन को रिड्यूस करने के लिए और इन कंट्रोल फील करने के लिए किया जा रहा है, तो कैन दिस बिकम एडिक्टिव?
Now this is tricky, right? Addictive, when you say addictive, means you start using it time and again, which happens in self-harm. So yes, you can say in a way that because the person is doing it time and again, it can be addictive. But मेरे नजदीक एडिक्शन की डेफिनेशन उससे कहीं ज्यादा ऊपर है. एडिक्शन में 3 फिनोमेना जो डेफिनेशन के इंपॉर्टेंट हैं वो जरूरी हैं. 1, डोज एस्केलेशन, सो हर दफा सेल्फ हार्म बढ़ता चला जाए. ओके. देन टॉलरेंस टू द सेम पेनफुल स्टिमुलाई जो एडिक्शन में होती है. Then withdrawals, नहीं करेंगे तो withdrawal symptoms आएंगे, right? So yes. Addiction की definition जरा थोड़ी फर्क है technically, professionally as a psychiatrist. अगर आप मुझसे पूछें, जो चीज यहां शायद fit in ना हो, लेकिन कह सकते हैं आप yes, it could be addictive, but I don't believe it. I don't think. And I personally don't have any data supporting that self-harm could be addictive.
Okay. Okay. So third question is कि how important is it to know the intent of the self harm? कि वो attention seeking के लिए किया जा रहा है, anxiety reduce करने के लिए किया जा रहा है, या feel control में feel करने के लिए किया जा रहा है? Is it important to make the diagnosis?
अब ये चीज देखो, ये इसी चीज पे आई एम ट्राइंग टू फोकस टाइम एंड अगेन, एंड दिस इज द थिंग दैट आई वांट यू पीपल टू अंडरस्टैंड. फेनिंग, मकर कर रहा है, चक्कर दे रहा है, अटेंशन सीख करने के लिए कर रहा है, आपके ख्याल में जो शख्स फेनिंग कर रहा है वो साइकाइट्रिकली हेल्दी है? मेरे ख्याल में नहीं है, राइट? So even feigning, even malingering is having some psychological and psychiatric problems in the background. And as a professional, my job is to know why they are feigning it, why they are malingering, why they are trying. That is important for me. And that assessment will lead to a diagnosis and management. So I don't think so that people do it again intentionally in a feigning type of thing, but it can be, yes, there is a possibility, but I will keep it at the bottom of my list rather than at the top. So मैं अगर बात कर रहा हूँगा और मुझसे एग्जामिनर बार बार पूछेगा और क्या वजह है, और क्या वजह है, तो मैं फेनिंग और मकर और इंटेंशनल को सबसे नीचे रखूंगा, उसको ऊपर नहीं लेकर ऊपर मैं बात वही करूंगा, प्राइमरी साइकाइट्रिक मोबिलिटी, सेक्सुअल अब्यूज, वर्बल अब्यूज, डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस, यंग एज, मे बी जस्ट रिलीव ऑफ एंजाइटी और समथिंग, बट और जब आएगा तो शायद मैं उसको नीचे कहीं डाल दूं, पहले नहीं डालूंगा.
सर एक और क्वेश्चन मेरे दिमाग में भी आया है. सर इमरजेंसी ड्यूटीज में हम पेशेंट्स देखते हैं जो सुसाइड अटेम्प्ट करके आए होते हैं, सेल्फ हार्म के बाद आए होते हैं, स्पेशली कुछ टॉक्सिक सब्सटेंस इंजेस्ट करके आए होते हैं. जब हम एग्जामिन करते हैं तो उनके रिस्ट पर 50-60 एक रिस्ट के ऊपर कट मार्क्स होते हैं, वेरी क्लीनली डन, और थाइस पे होते हैं और एब्डोमेन में होते हैं. बट सर वैसे तो कहा जाता है कि इट्स अ क्राई फॉर हेल्प, सेल्फ हार्म. लेकिन जब हम पेशेंट को एंगेज करना चाहते हैं कि आप साइकेट्री ओपीडी में आइए, यू नीड हेल्प विद दिस, तो वो नहीं आते, कहते नहीं वो तो चोट लग गई थी, और वो मतलब एडमिट नहीं करते. ऑफ कोर्स इमरजेंसी में रैपो बिल्ड करना भी मुश्किल होता है, तो इस तरह से पेशेंट को एंगेज कैसे करें?
सबसे जरूरी चीज जो है, जब भी किसी को आपने एंगेज करना होता है, उसमें सबसे जरूरी चीज आपकी एम्पैथी है. So the kind of the words that you use are important. So if you acknowledge the intensity and the severity of the problem they were passing through, and if you will acknowledge that this is a disease process and would be able to explain it to the patient, they will accept and they will come. Most of the patients, they don't come because we are not able to give them justification that whatever you are doing is because of certain reasons. अगर हमें उसकी जस्टिफिकेशन मरीज को तसल्ली नहीं होती, मरीज गायब हो जाता है. आप मरीज को कहते हैं तुमने अपने आप को काटा है, तुम परेशान हो, तुम बेचैन हो, तुम घबराए हुए हो, तुम पैनिक में हो, इसलिए तुमने अपने आप को काटा है, तुम साइकाइट्री में आ जाओ. This is what the statement is given by the general public. The physicians, the gastroenterologists, the neurologists, they will do that. We should not. We should try to communicate to them in words and methodologies where we will be able to make sure that they understand that there is a physical problem, there are the psychological component, and there are consequences. Because बात मैंने पहले यही की थी, वो तो फील करते हैं काट के. दो चीजें जो इंपॉर्टेंट मैंने इसमें जिक्र किया था, उसको यहाँ से कोरिलेट कर रहा हूँ. एक, उनकी इज्जत नफ्स मजरू हो रही है, राइट, जब लोग देख रहे हैं कि उन्होंने काट लिया. अब एक शख्स जिसकी इज्जत नफ्स मजरू हो रही है, वो तो आगे ही डिस्ट्रेस में है और छुपाना चाहता है, और आप उसको हाईलाइट करेंगे तू पागल खाने में आ जा, आई एम सॉरी टू यूज द वर्ड, तो वो तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं आएगा. सो यू हैव टू मेक देम अंडरस्टैंड दैट Okay, fine. I understand that this is a problem, but I believe that there is more to it. There are definite issues with you, which are physical, psychological, social, domestic. We have to assess, evaluate, and intervene, and you will be okay. So let's do this. So हमें टेक्निकली मरीज के फॉर्मेट को अंडरस्टैंड करते हुए साथ चलना है. अगर हम रैंडमली ऐसे ही गुफ्तगू करेंगे जैसे बाकी लोग करते हैं तो मरीज नहीं आएगा. और फिर ऑब्वियसली जो फिजिशियंस हैं बाकी सारे हैं वो भी देख के कहते हैं वो so that probably will go away. So you have to be careful about that too, right? Okay. Any other question?
सर मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है कि I mean a few years ago it was called deliberate self harm. मैं लेट ज्वाइन किया तो हो सकता है आप पहले एक्सप्लेन कर चुके हो. तो व्हाट्स द रीजन कि वो जो डेलिब्रेट का लफ्ज है वो हटा दिया गया और इट्स ओनली कॉल्ड सेल्फ हार्म नाउ.
अभी शुरू में यही एक्सप्लेन किया था कि उसको डेलिब्रेट हटा के उसको सिर्फ सेल्फ हार्म कर दिया गया है. और उसकी दो रीजंस मेजर ये हैं कि डेलिब्रेट का लफ्ज जब आता है मींस कि मैं जानबूझ के कर रहा हूँ, तो इसलिए डेलिब्रेट का लफ्ज हटा दिया गया, उसको सेल्फ हार्म कर दिया गया. तो ये जानबूझ के नहीं कर रहा.
जो लोग
सॉरी आपकी आवाज ब्रेक हो गई मुझे. मैं दोबारा से ये बात कर दूं कि डेलिब्रेट का लफ्ज एक तो इस वजह से हटा दिया गया कि इंटेंशनल नहीं है, उसके पीछे बैकग्राउंड है, उसके पीछे एक बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स हैं जो हमने भी जिसमें बात की है. सो इसलिए डेलिब्रेट का लफ्ज हटा दिया. दूसरा स्टिग्मेटाइजिंग है. जब आप डेलिब्रेट का लफ्ज यूज कर देते हैं, जानबूझ के कर रहा है या मकर कर रहा है या फ्रेब कर रहा है या कोई भी चीज या अपने आप को नुकसान पहुंचा रहा है, तो वो हम साइकाइट्री से उसको हटा देते हैं, हम उसको नॉर्मल फिनोमेनास में डाल देते हैं, which is not actually. The self-harm is a major psychiatric issue or psychological issue that needs to be addressed. So that was the reason why it was removed. And now in most of the new books and literatures that are coming in 2020, you will see they are using self-harm. They are not using deliberate self-harm. They're not using even the para-suicide. They're using self-harm for that as well. So that has changed. पुरानी किताबों में भी para-suicide, suicide, deliberate self-harm यूज हो रहा है, लेकिन अब नए खत्म हो गया, नहीं इस्तेमाल कर रहे.
और सर एक और क्वेश्चन है कि इम्पल्स कंट्रोल डिसऑर्डर का आपने नाम लिया था, तो इट्स वेरी क्लोजली लिंक्ड कॉन्सेप्ट. क्योंकि मैं अभी पढ़ रहा था तो उसमें ICD-10 में लिखा है कि अगर इफ जनरली लाइक सेल्फ हार्म if it is a part of a bigger syndrome, then it's not impulse control disorder.
Again बात फिर वही है, it depends. कामरान, जो मैं इन कैंडिडेट्स को भी बार बार बात करता हूँ, हमारा काम सबसे पहला है असेसमेंट. If we are good in assessing and evaluating a client, we will reach to the conclusion, an appropriate conclusion and diagnosis, and the management is much easier. But if we are not able to assess and we have left lots of things around, then whatever medication you will give, he won't improve. So मैं जब नुस्खा लिख रहा होता हूँ, मैं सबको अपने साथ जो बैठे होते हैं मेरे ट्रेनिंग वगैरह को भी ये पता है, assessment is the key. If we are able to assess them properly, we can go up to ECT and there won't be any problem. But if we are not able to assess, even if we go up to ECT, things won't get better. So as a professional, I focus and re-emphasize and re-emphasize and re-emphasize, assess your clients properly. That is the key to improvement. So वो हमारे साइकाइट्री में अगेन पाकिस्तान में लफ्ज इस्तेमाल होता है ना, खंगी जाओ तो लंगी जाओ, राइट? अब खंगी जाओ तो लंगी जाओ मतलब कि इधर से मरीज आ रहा है, इधर से आपने उसकी शक्ल देखी, 4 दवाइयां लिखी और इधर से बाहर. Unfortunately, in psychiatry, if we keep on practicing like this, आए, हाँ जी तुम्हें क्या है, वो जी दिल घबराता है, अच्छा तुम्हें डिप्रेशन है, एल फट दवाइयां 4 खा जा. things won't improve. He will keep on taking the medication for months and years and he won't get back well. और वो unfortunately because यही difference है बाकी स्पेशलिटीज में और हम में कि वो फेस वैल्यू पे जाते हैं मरीज ने। अब मैं आज भी एक नुस्खा देख रहा था क्लिनिक पे, तो एक न्यूरोलॉजिस्ट का नुस्खा था और न्यूरोलॉजिस्ट ने कहा अब क्लियरली आई हैव डायग्नोज्ड दैट पेशेंट सफरिंग फ्रॉम डिमेंशिया अल्जाइमर्स टाइप एंड clearly there was evidence for it. I had the scoring, I had the scan and everything. And that neurologist said, okay, ये स्लो हो रहे हैं, इनको सिनेमेट दे दो, दर्द हो रही है, इनको पेन किलर दे दो, इनको अच्छा ये जज्बात का इजहार नहीं करे, ये भी दे दो, गुस्सा करते हैं एंटीसाइकोटिक दे दो, सुस्त रहते हैं एंटी डिप्रेसेंट दे दो। 8 दवाइयां लिखी हुई नुस्खे के ऊपर। अब डायग्नोसिस तो गया ना पीछे, फारिग हो गया,
बिल्कुल
डिमेंशिया रह गया पीछे, अब बहुत सारी और चीजें शुरू होगी। और मैं 80% of the cases में in clinical setup I have to fight with the patient's family to tell them and explain to them. It takes me hours to explain it to them that whatever you are giving the treatment is symptomatic. I don't want to treat the symptoms. I want to treat the cause. I want to treat the diagnosis. Things will be okay. And same is happening here as well. When you see self-harm, you immediately, as a psychiatrist, your impulses should be, okay, assess why. And there are factors. I have quoted you the factors. These are the factors. You have to assess all of them. And I know they are not easy to be assessed. एक औरत जो घर में मार खाती है, वो अस्पताल में आके कभी भी नहीं बोलेगी कि मेरा खावन मुझे हर दूसरे चौथे दिन चपेट लगा देता है। जब तक कि आप उसको ये कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं देंगे कि अच्छा हम कुछ करेंगे, तुम चीजों को बताओ, और फिर आपको उसको कोपिंग मैकेनिज्म, स्ट्रैटेजी, सारा कुछ। अब अगेन द पॉइंट कम्स इन, जब मुझसे लोग पूछते हैं कि सास बहू का झगड़ा है, ठीक है, तो मैं ये तो नहीं कहता कि जी अगर बहू को डिसोसिएटिव फिट्स पड़ रहे हैं तो मैं तलाक तो दिलवा नहीं सकता, तो सास तो वहीं रहेगी, लेकिन मैं बहू को इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग कर सकता हूं कि वो सास की मौजूदगी में और उसके तानों के बावजूद कंफर्टेबल रहे, कोप करे और चीजों को मैनेज करे फॉर टाइम्स टू कम। माय टारगेट इज नॉट टू क्रिएट अ वॉल बिटवीन देम, आई कैन नॉट डू दैट, इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल फॉर मी, बट माय टारगेट इज टू मेक हर सो स्ट्रॉन्ग इमोशनली, and of course if there are other issues, that she should be able to bounce back, face the situation, face the consequences, and not react in a way that she was reacting, and she'll be fine. Things will be okay, at least for her family, for that time period. Of course these are recurring situations, they come and go and we have to keep intervening, but this never means that we should stop. This is what my viewpoint is, right?
बिल्कुल सही।
Okay, any other question?
सर एक क्वेश्चन पूछना था, जैसे अगर कोई कैंसर पेशेंट है या डायबिटिक पेशेंट है और उनको बता भी दिया कि आपके लिए चीजें अच्छी नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी अगर वो स्मोकर है तो स्मोकिंग किए जा रहे हैं, या डायबिटिक है तो वो ओवर ईट किए जा रहे हैं, तो ये भी इसमें आएगा?
साइकाइट्रिक मॉर्बिडिटी है, उसको असेस करें।
नहीं, ये सेल्फ हार्म में आएगा जो इस तरह के बिहेवियर।
उसको पता हो कि उसके लिए ये काम ठीक नहीं है और फिर भी वो करी जा रहा है, अपर स्टोरी में गड़बड़ है ना, असेस करो।
अच्छा,
और फिर इंटरव्यू। यही
सर आज डॉक्टर मुंतजिर मेहदी भी आए हैं, सर को अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वेरी मच मुंतजिर।
सर इनकी प्रिस्क्रिप्शन मैंने देखी थी, सर बहुत अच्छी प्रिस्क्रिप्शन लिखते हैं।
हाँ, इसमें कोई शक नहीं।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर।
वालेकुम सलाम, मेरा होनहार शागिर्द है।
पहले दिन से आपका मैं ट्रेनिंग सर।
इसमें कोई शक नहीं है। मुंतजिर, गुड टू सी यू, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर कमिंग इन।
जी सर।
मेरा नहीं ख्याल था कि तुम आज भी आ जाओगे, लेकिन
नहीं सर, मैं आपकी ज़ियारत के लिए आता हूँ बस।
अच्छा, थैंक यू वेरी मच। मुंतजिर उन कैंडिडेट्स में से है शुरू में जिन्होंने बहुत ज्यादा मेहनत की है और बड़ी मुश्किल टाइम्स में FCPS का इम्तिहान दिया है, और आई एम वेरी प्राउड ऑफ हिम कि इसने डिस्पाइट हैविंग सो मेनी issues around him. इसको हेपेटाइटिस हो गया था। क्यों मुंतजिर? हाउस
जी
जॉब
सर, बिल्कुल।
के रेजिडेंसी के दरमियान हुआ था?
जी सर, मुझे हाउस जॉब में ही हो गया था।
एक्सपोजर हो गया, पेशेंट से हेपेटाइटिस हो गया, फिर उसकी वो सारी ट्रीटमेंट चली, लेकिन मुंतजिर कोप्ड वेरी वेल और अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह इस वक्त ये जिस जगह पे इसको देख के बड़ी खुशी होती है।
हाँ सर, बिल्कुल। ये बल्कि मैं स्टूडेंट से यहाँ बल्कि वो स्टूडेंट से एक चीज भी शेयर करना चाहूंगा कि ये बड़ी प्रोस्पेक्टिव फील्ड है और हमारे बड़ी गुड लक थी कि टीचर्स हमें बड़े अच्छे मिले। तो ये सबको भी मेरी एडवाइस है कि आपको सुने और वो ये फॉलो करने की कोशिश करें। ये बड़ा पे करेगी इन सबको इंशाल्लाह।
ये चीजें मुश्किल हैं, साइकाइट्री अनफॉर्चुनेटली मुश्किल है और लोग समझते बड़ी आसान है, 4 दवाइयां उधर ही काम खत्म, लेकिन नहीं। आपको जैसे लेकर चीजों को चलना है उसके लिए आपको मेहनत करनी है। Thank you very much, all of you, for coming in. Thank you, Kamran. Thank you, Muntazir, for joining me.
Sir, I have a question.
हाँ बोलो, आखिरी सवाल, उसके बाद मुझे जाना है। हाँ।
Sir, can self-harm be the part of obsessive compulsive disorder?
It can be part of any psychiatric morbidity. Any psychiatric morbidity. Again, it can be part of a schizophrenia. It can be part of major depressive disorder. It can be part of OCD, anxiety disorders. किसी का भी हिस्सा हो सकता है। अगर ये फैक्टर्स जो मैंने पीछे आपको बताए इनको प्रॉपरली असेस कर लो और पेशेंट का डायग्नोसिस स्टैब्लिश कर लो, सेल्फ हार्म कंट्रोल हो जाएगा। यस, इट कुड बी पार्ट ऑफ एनी मेजर साइकियाट्रिक मोबिलिटी। राइट? थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग इन। आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल। शॉर्ट नोटिस पे तुम लोग सारे आ गए, खुशी हुई। इंशाल्लाह जुमे को मेडिकली अनएक्सप्लेन्ड सिम्टम्स कवर करेंगे। फोरम में आपको इस फोरम पे और एकेडमिक फोरम पे बता दूंगा। थैंक यू, टेक केयर, अल्लाह हाफिज।
थैंक यू सर।
Thank you, sir.